There we go.
Okay.
I'm having all kinds of technical difficulties, but here I am. Marcus, I'm so glad you're here. Please let me know in the comments if you hear me, because all of this it's being funny. But I also have a new thing. Let me do. How about that, right? I am trying to do a little bit more of my technology here. And so today, oh, thank you, Marcus. Thank you for being here. Great stream. You gave me a lot to think about today. Um, but friends, if you're watching the replay, please go watch Marcus's live streaming from today, this afternoon. It's going to do you some good. So today, it's a special day because I've been thinking about um, this gray hair. I just color my hair, if you haven't noticed. I just colored my hair last week because I was like, oh my gosh, look, the grays are starting to show. And I didn't think it was such a big deal until lately, where I'm like, okay, I'm doing it more often and thinking about grandparenting because in the season of life where I am, I'm learning that a lot of my friends are becoming grandparents. And the common thread that I hear all the time is like, you don't understand. This is great. This is like the best thing ever. So, and the month of June, I'm dedicating it to talk about children and children ministry and just things to do with kids during this summer, right? Like parents and grandparents are usually trying to find things to do with the kids. Marcus, oh goodness, you're just my sweet friend. That's why you say that. Thank you. So, and anybody else that is watching, please just we invite you to interact in the comments. Let us know where you're watching from, and just pop up the questions. So I was having a couple of technical difficulties with my guest. It looks to me like she's in the studio, but her camera is not on. So there she is. All right. Okay. She's behind the scenes. So before I introduce you to my friend today, because she is an expert. She's an expert in this topic. I'm going to read you a little bit about herself and then she's going to tell us a little bit more. So, my friend Jill Vogel is a seasoned veteran with 20 years of experience in children's ministry, has always been drawn to serving in ministry since her youth. Encouraged by compassionate youth leader, she nurtured and deepened rooting the passion to witness grow, and whether in her garden or in a child's faith. This zeal has driven her to actively contribute to the expansion of God's kingdom, inspiring others through her positive demeanor and effective communication skills. Man, she is really good at questions. As a certified INCM coach, Jill eagerly continues to connect with and learn from fellow leaders, fostering and thriving community. She values personal growth, regularly attending conferences, online classes, and certified programs, while also avidly engaging with podcasts and books. I hope she listens to mine. Now, entering a new phase as a grandparent, she eagerly collaborates with others to help grandparents make intentional spiritual impacts on their adult children and grandchildren. Alongside her husband of 38 years, Kent, Jill cherishes moments of music, hand holding, and sunsets watching, regardless of the location. And without any more further ado, here's my sweet, sweet friend, Jill. Hi,
Hi.
Jill.
Hi, Anna.
How are you?
I am
I have.
good. I,
Mm.
I just want to say thank you for asking me to be on. I had to laugh because before we got on, Anna and I were well, I was having a gray haired moment. I was having a hard time working the camera. So I was
But
having a hard time jumping on, but somehow it worked. God made it work. So I have to
yes,
say, Amen.
thank
And
you.
I kind of laugh when you were talking about me. I also do color my hair. Um, and when I saw the gray being a a crown, I was kind of laughing, going, "Wait a minute! I don't have gray hair. I color it purposely." So there is a there is. I have to look young. You got to keep up with those youngins. So yes, Mark. Hi, how are you? And I do agree that
Yes.
there is a saying that kids do make you happy, and once you produce grandchildren, they do make a blessing. You don't realize until you get to hold that first one, and it just is a an amazing moment. And
Mhm.
it is it is that crowning moment when you go, wow,
Yeah.
this is what it's all about. And it's not like you love your kids less. It's just this is amazing to look down. I know that when my son, my middle son, had his little girl, the first one, I was just in awe to think that my son what produced this amazing child, and now to watch him grow up so quickly in my eyes as he's becoming a father, and just what that looks like. And
Yeah.
proud of him. And I have two grandchildren, so I'm proud of both my sons. I am a mother of three boys, and I finally got that girl. Um,
Yeah.
but I am, and when you said season, I was laughing. I was like, wait a minute, my grandchildren are only in their second year. So I am a new grandmother, and
Yes.
I
Well,
am
I
new
meant
to, new,
seasoned children's ministry.
yeah, I am very new to all this. So
Yes. But as an outsider, I can see how well you're doing it. And that's why I wanted to talk to you, because we've had little conversations here and there about it, and pointing out that it's also a privilege and just an amazing thing to see
mhm,
your son being a father, and
mhm,
like taking that responsibility. And because like I'm thinking, I'm not a grandma yet, but I'm thinking like, oh my gosh, this child can barely take the dog to the vet because she freaks out. What is she gonna do when she has a baby and all those things? But I think it's just nature, right? Like
yeah,
how
nature.
that comes around. But you, as a parent of your children, you get to,
Watch it.
yes,
Yes,
right?
my youngest son and his wife have a little boy. Mac is 6 months, over 6 months, but he'll be 7 months. But he was born 2 months early, and it was really fun to watch my son grow up so fast,
Mm,
having his little one in the NICU,
yeah.
and just become, because they were newly married, and found out they were pregnant pretty quickly, and then 6 months later they became parents, and so not only was he a husband, now he's a father,
Yeah.
and he is my baby, and I
Oh my
watched him
god.
grow up in front of my eyes as he is loving on this little boy that
Yes. Yeah.
he just gets. So yes, I saw that highlight. What did Mark say?
Marcus said, with grandchildren, you get more of the fun and much less of the responsibility.
Well, yeah, I would say that's true. However, your responsibility changes differently, because you're sort of responsible in a sense of supporting your children as they're the parents,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
being there, being almost. I was thinking about Moses and how Aaron and her were holding up his hands as he was. Supporting Joshua as he was out in battle, and it's sort of like Kent and I and the other sets of grandparents are on each side holding up our kids' arms
Mm.
as we support them. because we're not the parents. Yes, I agree, Marcus. We're not the parents. We're the support team. And I love the fact that I can support my kids. I can pray for my kids, but I can even get on my hands and knees right now for my grandchildren
Mm,
as they grow.
yeah, so I
And
love that.
they are a lot of fun. But
Mm,
what's really fun is my granddaughter actually was here. My daughter-in-law had an appointment, and so she texted, and I said, "Sure, bring her by." And so we watched her today, but I had to laugh because Collins came in, looked at me, but then saw her grandfather and immediately ran to her grandfather. And because he is fun. And
mhm.
so
Right,
yes,
right.
I so agree. They are so much fun and they grow up so fast.
Yes. Well, it's like I said, I can't wait to be a grandma, but still, I'm like, okay, I don't know, I don't want to be called grandma just yet.
Oh,
I'm
I
like,
am,
I'm
yeah.
still so immature, like to be a grandma.
Okay, so one of the things, my mother had a nickname. My kids called her Detta, and so when my mother and I were talking before she passed, she said, "Well, you have to have a really cool grandmother name." So I am not grandmother. I
Mhm,
am Gigi, and
mhm,
which is a pretty common grandmother name, but if one of those little grandchildren change the name to something else, I'll go with it
mhm.
because they get the right to call me anything. Actually, I think Honey would be kind of a fun name, but
Yeah. Yes. Well, my daughter, my oldest daughter, says that I'm not the one to pick up the name, that her children are going to be the ones picking up the name. And I'm
ooh,
like, well, I don't know about that, but that's what they did with my mom.
oh.
The first grandchild named my mom and my dad. So, and that stayed forever. So,
Well,
we
it
call
takes
them.
a while for them to come up with to speak, so they have
Hmm.
to call you something. So
Yeah.
that's why I just sort of went with the Gigi. And
Hmm.
as I said, if I
Yeah.
get changed to, I don't know, Kiki,
Uh-huh.
Jojo, Gigi,
Hey, you.
Mimi, hey,
Yeah. Well, so I have a couple questions and talking about this because it's summer. So during the summer, I've heard that a lot of grandparents get on watch duty, because a
Mhm,
lot of parents work and then the grandparents have to step up and watch the kids while they're, you know, in summer. So I know that you collaborate also with the Legacy Coalition.
yes.
And when I first heard about this ministry, I was like, oh my gosh, that sounds like a school for grandparents. Like, is it necessary? But I think that technology and the way that life is going now,
Mhm,
we probably do. And I say we because I'm already feeling like, okay, there is a little disconnect right there between our generations, and because their generation is coming out so fast versus us that when we were kids, right? And like I see it with my mom, it's like she's always like, well, nobody calls me, nobody texts me, nobody cares about me. And I'm like, but you have a phone and you can call them too, like be
mhm.
present that way and kind of use the same communication lines that the kids use nowadays.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I think we're very, very blessed to be able to have technology because there are grandparents that don't live. I'm blessed that I live in the same community that my grandchildren do.
Mm,
However, there are some that don't. And I love talking to grandparents. It's sort of like, well, why aren't you doing story hour? And they're like, well, I can't do story hour. And I'm like going, okay, there's Zoom, there's what is it?
FaceTime.
FaceTime, there's anything. I mean,
Hmm.
this thing is in grandparents' hands just as much
Oh,
as
she's
it is.
beautiful.
I
I
know.
just saw the picture.
Just as much as it is the young kids. So you can spend time, you can send texts, send encourage. We used to, when my grandmother would come in town and she'd be here, she would write notes and put them in our lunch boxes.
Oh,
But yet you can send a text and let them know that you're thinking about them, you're praying about them. And technology is our friend. So I don't know why we don't use it, because it is a great way to have those quick conversations.
mhm.
Haven't learned how to TikTok, but I'm sure you could TikTok back to your grandchildren if they're older. And I don't see Collie, doing it unless I miss Rachel. But
Right.
there's so much out there that you can do, and I think you
Mhm.
have to learn about it and embrace it and learn from smarter people. Like you, Anna. I mean, you've helped me just even getting on today. So, yes. Yes, Marcus, I agree. Sending a letter. Everyone loves to get letters in the mail.
Yeah.
And cards. I mean, I have a stack of cards that Collie the first thing she comes in our house is she goes to Gigi's closet, and I have a box of cards that Kent has sent me, and she loves to go through them and see the written letter. So
Mhm.
if you can send it back to them so that
Mhm.
they can have them, because there is nothing more precious than finding a letter that your grandparent, when they're gone. I
Right,
mean,
the legacy.
someday I'll be in heaven,
Yeah.
and I would know, Collie's going to be thinking about me, and she could have that stack of letters to look through.
Mhm. Mhm.
A great reminder.
Yes, yeah, I love that too, and it's just, I think it's like you said, embracing the times that we're living rather than being afraid or, not. I think the power of also them learning from you,
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, yeah, letter used to be a thing in my day, and now, like, getting a letter or a handwritten note, it feels like really good, right, versus a text and stuff.
I
But
was, yeah.
mhm.
I was telling a friend, they were talking about how they can't, they don't, like, what do I do with my grandchildren? And I said, well, read them a story, but send them the book. You have one book, and you send them the
Mm.
other book so that mom and dad are holding the book. I mean, books are
Yeah,
amazing things. So,
that is a great idea.
send them another, so you have the book so that when they come to your house, they can see the book, but send
Mhm,
them the book, and also write a note in it, and
mhm.
have the parent write down how many times you read the story to them, because it's really good to keep track of that too.
Yes, yes. And even when you send them the book, you can write something for them
Mhm.
on the book itself. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something, my mom, she's like, "Ugh, I don't want my nephew's 10 years old." And she's like, I don't have the energy, you know, to
Mm.
watch him anymore and this and that. And I'm like, well, just being there in the same room, and in my case, we also have the barrier of the language, like,
Mhm.
he understands Spanish but he doesn't speak Spanish, and my mom only speaks Spanish. But I'm like, just sit with him, just sit there with
Mhm.
him, or, like, to go color on the driveway, or, the ball, or just watch him swing in the swing, and just being with them. I think it's important that they know that, or cooking or something like that,
Yeah.
right?
Does she teach him a little bit of her native language? Does
Yeah,
she,
yeah,
yeah.
a little bit,
Does she
but
share is she able to share stories? Because really we're supposed to
mhm,
be storytellers,
mm,
because we want, the legacy that we've lived, because we've lived here. I mean, I've lived 62 years, so I know a lot, and
mhm,
I can share that with my kids. And also too, I mean, I remember my grandmother talking about reading books under the apple tree.
mm,
And I love hearing that story, and would
mhm,
ask, tell me about when you were a child. Tell me about the house you grew up in,
yeah,
because I wanted to know more about her. So
mm,
I started asking questions, but before I could ask questions, she was already sharing that with me so
mm,
that I could ask her.
mhm,
And it is sort of, we have to remember, they want to hear about our stories.
yeah,
We're supposed to be storytellers. We're supposed to leave the legacy, that
mhm,
so that Collie knows, you know, that I had a peach tree that every, morning that I would get up, I'd pick it. It was warm and I'd cut it up and we'd pour cream on it. So when she's eating peaches, she can think of me
Mm-hmm.
and I can remember, but I have to tell her the stories in order for her to
Right.
remember the stories.
Yeah. So now also, what do you think about the role of the parents influencing in, they're like in between, right? Because
Well, they're
the
the
kid,
parent. I've
right.
already I've already parented.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
But how do a parent can help to fuse that relationship
oh,
between the child and the grandparent?
I think you need to have a conversation with your child, with the
Mhm.
parent in
Mhm.
order to say, let's talk about it. Can I share my faith? Can I, can I, how can I support you? Can I tell you stories? Parents want to know that you're part of the team. So you
Mhm.
need to have that dialogue with them and
Ah,
share it. And if they don't want something that maybe you're offering, it's okay to say, okay, they're the parent
right.
and it's maybe not this time and you go pray and maybe God will help it, but it just, you have to have a conversation with the parent. And even have, like, you when you were mentioning your nephew at being at 10 and has no interest to have that conversation. Your mom can go to your
Brother.
brother and say, hey, how can I build a relationship? what
Mm.
does what does he like to do?
Mm, mhm.
And because sometimes I think we assume they want to play
Yeah,
checkers when really they want to play chess.
right.
So have that conversation and really, kind of find out what they want and what they see, because they often
Mhm.
talk to their kids.
Yes.
So have that
Yeah.
conversation.
So I think that is, yeah, you just touched to something very important because um we can we can cross boundaries as a grandparents. And I mean, like, again, I'm not a grandparent, but I'm also like, I catch myself and I'm like, oops, I am giving suggestions and they didn't even ask for my opinion. Like, come
Yes.
on,
Yeah.
Anna,
No,
you
that's
think?
that's we have to be invited to the table a
Mm,
little bit,
mm, yeah,
and
yeah.
and and ask if they want it, because they have to learn how to be a parent.
Mm-hmm.
And just
Mm-hmm.
like we had to learn how to be a parent. And there's
Yeah.
nothing worse than that that advice that maybe you don't want to do, because maybe you should, but yet you want to learn it on your own.
Mm-hmm.
And because sometimes we have a tendency to say, oh, well, this is the way we did it. Well,
Mm-hmm.
they might not do it the same way.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And there is a lot of that. It's all about communicating.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. I think that it's having that open
Mhm.
dialogue with the family itself, right? And I wanted also to talk a little bit about people that don't have grandchildren, but they're in a community, and vice
Mhm.
versa. There's kids that don't have grandparents.
Yes. They're not only do they not, maybe they don't have parents that live with them or live close, but maybe they have parents that are a lot of there's a lot of grandparents that are raising grandkids. But the thing is that if you're in a community of a church, you can be the best grandparent, kind of like that pseudo grandparent, or that step in the gap type of grandparent, and be present for those kids. Go to your children's ministry leader and ask them, do you know someone that maybe needs a grandparent, needs, wise counsel? Because we've got that, like you said, that gray hair. We got a little wisdom. We got a little, you know, life on our things,
Right.
so we can be. Because sometimes kids just need a listening ear, a non-judgmental listening ear, and just want to talk,
Yeah.
and they don't want advice, they just want to be talked. I mean, we could have godly wisdom for them, but guidance and direct
Mhm.
them the way. But
Right.
yet I think we have to just be there. So step in the gap, look around. Maybe there's a kid on your neighborhood that doesn't have a grandparent around. You're not going to replace that grandparent, you're just going to be stepping in the gap.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree, and I've seen it too. So like it's just a matter of finding the people to connect with, right? In a church, it's a good way to do that. But I wanted to share, I was looking for the website. I think I have it here,
Yes, that's it.
right?
Legacy Coalition.
It's a great way to, they have a lot of tips. You want to tell to us a little bit about what this ministry does?
Yeah, so Legacy, it's kind of fun because the founder, it was a children's ministry director, and when he became a grandparent, he realized there wasn't a lot out for. We do a really good job talking about what it means to be a parent, but when we talk about what it means to be a grandparent, we don't really, we kind of
Mm-hmm.
stumble and go, okay, what is this? So if
Yes.
you go on Legacy Coalition, you will find all kinds of tools. You'll find resources, great books on how to be an intentional Christian grandparent. Maybe there's a great book that Larry's written about long distance. Actually, that was Wayne Rice, but about being a long distance grandparent, maybe, or even how do you be a grandparent in this, kind of, I want to say a wompy kind of world. It's a little different. And
Mm-hmm.
some of these things kids are walking through, we need to know how to have those conversations. So there's some great resources. Also on Monday nights, they have what's called Grand Monday nights, and they bring in some amazing guest speakers that speak into that
Mm-hmm.
and give, it's just like this. It's
Mm-hmm.
a video. What do you call this? A podcast, right? But
Yeah.
there's also, yeah, but there's also, if you go on the website, you'll also find listening podcast ones, and there's also a conference that's going to be at Oak Cliff Bible in Houston,
Okay.
and
Are
it's
you
with,
coming
I, I don't know yet. I know
to come
it's
to
with,
Houston?
yeah, it's with Tony. It's going to be hosted at Tony Evans Church. So it's
Okay.
a conference that brings in, like you said, kind of it's a learning place where
Mm-hmm.
grandparents can learn and learn from others. And there's a wide range of speakers, from football players to people who've written books, people, psychologists, pastors, different things. And
Mm-hmm.
that's in October, and that's
Okay.
during grandparents' time. And what's really cool is if you can't make it there, we do have simulcasts in different churches. I think there
Oh,
right
that's
now
cool.
it's like 160 churches around the
Wow.
United States and
Hmm.
Canada, and that'll be hosting a simulcast.
That's so,
So you can check around and see if
yeah.
there is one.
Mhm.
And it's just a great way. I mean, as I always say, we need to have tools in our tool belt so that
Mhm.
we can be the best intentional Christian grandparents, be the best that we want, because we
Mhm.
really want our kids in heaven with us.
Yes.
So, and our grandchildren. So, we need to help them, and we need
Mhm.
to be able to
Mhm.
tell our story.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And like I said, if we take yoga classes and cooking classes, why not taking grandparent classes
Yeah.
and just be the best that we can be for our children? So
Yeah. But we
I
also need to be healthy parents or
exactly.
grandparents too ourselves.
Right, right. And one of the things that my husband and I talk about is like, okay, we might have messed up our kids, but we're gonna do better with my grandchildren. And so
Yeah.
we're trying to be better people for them, right?
Yeah.
And so there's grace, and there's, God doesn't waste anything, I think. So he will grant us that when the time comes.
And
I
we have
hope.
to, yeah. And as Marcus said earlier, fun. We need to play with our grandchildren and play
Mhm.
with our kids,
Yeah.
and just have fun. I mean,
Mhm.
they are, as I said earlier, they enter the room and they brighten it up. And there's nothing like, I
Mhm.
mean, I just recently reached out to my other granddaughter and it said, "Hey, I need a picture." It's like, remind, because they're so busy and they're
Right.
balancing all these. We can't expect them to remember to send us a picture or a video or tell us, ask those questions. What are they doing right now? What is
Mhm.
new? It's like
Yeah.
I will text them and say, what is what is new today?
Mhm.
Tell me what's new in the house. what
Yeah.
what are they doing?
Right.
And I think we have to be willing to reach out and ask those
Mhm.
questions, and don't wait for it. Marcus said early, communication. We need to
Mhm.
be communicating with
Right.
them. We can't just sit back and go,
And wait for them, right.
yeah, because
Mhm.
they're busy. I mean, they are so busy.
Mhm.
They're not only balancing and they're doing these things, but we have to also honor what they do.
Yeah.
I do watch my granddaughter every day when school's in, because my daughter-in-law is a teacher,
Mhm.
and I follow their schedule. I am
Mhm.
not a schedule person, to be honest. It's not in my DNA. However, for them, I've learned how to
Mhm.
follow their schedule, because
Mhm.
when Collins goes home, I want my granddaughter, I want my son and my daughter-in-law to have a successful night,
Yeah.
and
Mm.
I don't want to mess it
Mhm.
up. So I
Mhm.
want to follow what they want.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's part of loving both your kids and your grandkids, right? Because we could be like, oh my goodness, I didn't have a schedule when my kid was
Oh,
little. But
I
if that,
didn't.
right. So, but if that's what they want and that's what works for them, we need to adapt to them. Like you said, I love it how you put it, like make them a successful family, in their learning and their, getting to form
Hmm.
that dynamic, that family dynamic. So I appreciate those words, yeah, because it's a good reminder. Like we have to respect their rules,
Yeah,
right?
and we have to remember too that one child, like Brandon and Lauren, are raising Collie different
Hmm.
than Hannah and Timmy are raising Mac.
Yeah, that's
And
true too. Yeah,
so, and it's okay.
yeah.
They're
Hmm.
raising it the way their best they can. They're
Right.
not, are they going to be perfect? No. Were we
Mhm.
perfect? Like
Yeah,
you said earlier? No.
yeah.
But my kids have grown up and had children, so I guess I did something right. And
Right.
Kent did
Yep.
some. Well, it's
You
all Kent.
did. You
It's all
did.
Kent.
Well, Frank, like time flies when you're having fun. I really appreciate that you showed up on time. And my bad, I didn't send out the link before, but
um,
everything worked. I think according to schedule. But before we leave, I have something fun. If you are for it, let
I
me
am for it.
put yes. The basic questions, the rapid fire questions,
Okay.
Jill. So I'm not gonna pick the questions. And Marcus, if you're still here and you want to play, go ahead and tell us in the comments. So we'll see. We're gonna spin the wheel and it's gonna ask a question. Okay, it could be
Okay.
a silly question, a hard question. I don't know. Tell us a joke.
Oh, gosh. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Run.
Run who?
Run DMC. I don't know.
Well, that made me laugh. So was that one? I don't know if I could pull out one right like on the spot. I know in Spanish, but not really English. But here we go. What word do you absolutely hate? Maybe hate?
The word is actually hate. I will correct people and say you may dislike something, but hate's a pretty strong word.
Really?
Um, yeah.
Okay. That sounds good. I think you've told me that before that I say hate. What is the weirdest thing you've ever eaten?
Hmm. I think um, uh, squid, but the whole tentacle.
What?
You know how
Wasn't that like
octopus. You know how
slimy?
octo what?
Was it that slimy or?
No, I had a bite of it. My husband had it in a hamburger. It was like in a hamburger bun, and he thought it was a hamburger. It was in Portugal, and
Oh,
yeah. So I guess that would be the weirdest thing.
yeah, that sounds pretty weird. And the fact that it was on a hamburger. Like,
Yeah, on a bun. Yeah.
have you ever met a celebrity?
You,
Okay, besides me.
Marcus,
He is a
um,
celebrity
Bob
too.
Goff.
Bob Goff. That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was at a conference. He spoke. I can't say I really met. I got a hug.
That's, well, yeah, you met him.
He hugs everybody.
Right. But well, not everybody. But so
Well,
that
it
does
really
that
isn't
was
a
a lot.
hug. It's kind
Yeah.
of an open.
Okay, here comes the last one.
Okay. This is actually kind of fun. We could do
Let's
a whole hour on this.
right. What is your favorite dessert?
Angel food cake with strawberries and whipped cream, but it has to be homemade whipped
Really?
cream and a homemade angel food cake.
Really?
Mhm.
That's I don't want to say it's simple, but it's simple but it's good.
Yeah.
You know?
What's yours?
Oh my gosh. I'm a dessertaholic.
A
Like I
dessert. Okay.
yeah, I can eat all kinds of desserts, but actually on Monday I was like I need something sweet. I need something sweet. So I came to the pantry and found a lemon cake. You know,
Mm.
the store box kind.
Hmm.
And I did my own whipped cream, and I thought it was delicious. But maybe because I was craving something really sweet.
I like lemon.
Um, but I can eat all kinds of cakes, all kind of things, chocolate.
Oh, yes. What
You
about
know,
you? What about you, Marcus? What's your favorite dessert?
let us know, Marcus.
Let's see if he's listening. Maybe he's left. Marcus has left the room.
Well, or maybe he's laying down and falling asleep because I think it's 2 o'clock in the morning for him.
Oh, where is he from?
Switzerland.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Yes.
let's see.
Oh, there you
Oh,
go.
chocolate mousse. I don't.
Fancy, Marcus.
Yeah.
Fancy. I know you're still here. Thank you, friend. Thank you for being so supportive. I appreciate it. Marcus is actually coming to the United States for the very first time
Wow.
in, I believe, October. And, you know, Jill and I meet each other like every year in January. So that's something that we usually look forward to. And when Marcus told me that he was coming in October, I'm like, oh my gosh, maybe if I can work the budget that I was thinking I was going to fight for, maybe I can use it for October.
Where is he going to?
Boston.
Oh,
So it's,
that's a
it's,
fun place to go visit.
I've never been, but
I haven't either.
yeah, he's also coming for a conference of content creators and stuff. And I was like aiming for that one, but
It's a beautiful time. And you said in October?
uh-huh.
That's the changing of the colors.
Oh, really?
That would be a beautiful time. So
See, Marcus, take
maybe
a lot of pictures. You have to go live in
there you go.
Boston. Yeah,
So very
yeah.
cool.
Well, friend, I appreciate you
Well,
so much. This was so much fun. I love that we learned a lot, and you know, it's a great perspective because I think the grandparent topic it's not talked about
mm-mm.
often.
But we
So
all get, it is like you said, the crown
mhm.
that we get to do, and
Yes, and I
this
don't say it,
honor.
you know, God
Hmm.
says it. I didn't even knew that this was in the Bible, and then
Hmm.
when I read it, I'm like, wow, how
Yeah,
it sounds like such a privilege, right?
yeah. And even if you're a great grandparent,
Hmm.
you still have an influence. So
Yeah.
don't, it's sometimes they think, well, I'm so far away removed. No, you've
Hmm.
got a legacy because even the Bible says we're supposed to do our generation and our generation's generations, actually four
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
So we can't stop because
Hmm.
God's telling us we can't stop.
That's right, sister. Well,
Okay.
thank you so much again. Thank you, Marcus, for being
Thank you,
with
Marcus.
us. We're going to let you go to sleep. And, friends, if you're watching the replay, let us know in the comments. Jill's email is going to be also in the show notes if you have any questions about the Legacy Coalition
Yeah.
or children's ministry, or you need a coach, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Or even if your church is interested in bringing the summit to we can make it happen.
Sounds in Switzerland, right? That too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Possible. Yeah,
It can
there's
be
live
simulcast.
streaming. We don't know. Yeah, all things are possible. So, yeah, everything is going to be in the notes. And also, next week we're going to be on a new month, and the month of July, I'm going to dedicate it to content creation, and Marcus actually is going to be one of my guests, so stay tuned for that.
Oh,
It's going to be fun. If you want to learn how to do a podcast and how to live stream, don't miss any of the episodes in July. So I appreciate y'all. Thank you, Jill.
okay.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Thank you, Marcus. We'll see you next week.
Yes.
Bye.